Hey guys, what's up? A while back I announced my intention to compete in GT Academy 2015. It was an interesting experience. Let's take a look at how that went. The online competition ended yesterday morning. Needless to say, I didn't rank high enough to get into nationals. I knew I wouldn't without a wheel, but I feel like I still did pretty well. Apparently something like 400,000 people compete in this thing every year now, so I guess I was faster than about 398,000 people this time, or something. I wish I could say it was fun, but actually it wasn't. It's weird. I can see that I was doing pretty well, but I still couldn't shake the feeling that I was still horribly outclassed. I know the wheel makes a huge difference, but I can't help but feel like even if I get a wheel and stand, I still might not be fast enough. I guess that's why everyone involved in this is calling it an investment. $400 that will give you a ticket to nationals, and therefore a chance at race camp and the ultimate prize of becoming a Nismo athlete, if you have the skills to make full use of it. I used to think that with latent talent, lots of practice, and sheer determination that I would be able to race competitively with a standard controller. It turns out that the only way I can consistently defeat someone who's using a wheel is if that person isn't really competing seriously. A decent wheel has at least 10 times the precision of a thumbstick though, and with force feedback the driver can feel every bump through the wheel, so they already have a lot more information to work with. If I've learned anything so far, it's that inferior hardware leads to an inferior time. Oh well. I didn't enter this thing with the expectation that I was going to win. It turns out that some people enter this event with real-life race experience. I guess this would, for example, be an easy method for a professional kart racer to move up to racing prototype Le Mans race cars and such. This is my best lap from round 1, by the way. This was frustrating. I could never drive FF or all-wheel drive cars all that well. I strongly feel that the lack of realistically precise steering control plays a huge factor in that. Or perhaps I would still prefer cars that tend to oversteer if I had a wheel. Anyway, despite my struggles with managing the understeer with the controller, I still managed to overcome my limitations. Still, the difficulty increased exponentially with each personal record I broke, and in each round, it wasn't long before I found myself hitting a wall. Not literally though, well, sometimes literally, but only after hitting the figurative wall. As you can see, I managed a lap of 2 minutes, 9.124 seconds, in a world rank of 11,913th. After that, I was really hoping for something that wasn't all-wheel drive. Luckily, round 2 put me in a GT3 race car. This car was a blast to drive, but this track can be a bit tricky to deal with. The elevation changes in the corners can be brutal. Aggression was key here. I managed some ridiculous speed in the first sector, but steadily dropped pace a bit towards the end. For round 2, I achieved a lap time of 1 minute 24.658 seconds, giving me a world rank of 3,727th. For round 3, I was driving the Nissan Zytek Z11SN Greaves Motorsport race car. This car was even more of a blast to drive. I had to get reacquainted with the track, however, as I had not driven it for a while. What's more, the driver's seat positioning took a little getting used to. It looks like you're in the center, but you're actually sitting slightly to the right. I had a tendency to attack the left-hand corners a bit too aggressively as a result. However, I eventually got to grips with it and turned out a decent lap. Still, this is where things started getting very serious, and I found myself falling behind more than in previous rounds. Furthermore, the disadvantage of using a standard controller was even more apparent. With such high downforce, the steering needs to be so precise in the high-speed corners. You really can't get away with just expecting the rear to want to slide while you're in 4th gear. I managed to do a lap in 2 minutes 12.447 seconds, achieving a world rank of 16,301st. The final round was, quite fittingly, the most difficult round. I barely managed to get the gold award, though that doesn't even matter, as only those in the upper ranks can qualify for nationals. Nissan had us drive the Le Mans car that they just built this year, which several GT Academy graduates from previous years drove in this year's 24-hour Le Mans. It's difficult enough for me to control an FF properly, but the seating position made this the most frustrating round in the series, and I had really thought that I was done dealing with understeer after round 1. Now I had understeer on top of hardly being able to see where I was going. It felt like I was sitting in the back of the car. If I could drive from the bumper view like so many others do, I would, but I just can't figure out how anyone is supposed to be able to drive with any precision at all without some sort of visual indication of the width of the car. The first-person view gives me that. In the end, I could only squeeze out a lap of 3 minutes 36.53 seconds, earning a regional rank of 1,859th. Even though I didn't get very far, it has been an interesting experience. I keep using the word interesting because I really have a lot of mixed feelings about it, and I'm not sure how to describe it in a concise manner any other way. Anyway, it was frustrating. It felt like it was breaking me down at times, but I seem to be driving faster now that it's all over. I overcame my limitations, even if I merely set them farther back. A new challenge to overcome. I'm going to save up and get myself a wheel, hopefully by next year, just in time for my race from virtual to reality to begin again.